The president convened a meeting last week with members of his cabinet and with Elon to talk about this historic effort that everybody is on board with to identify the waste, fraud, and abuse across our federal government. And the meeting was highly productive. It was an open dialogue and discussion, which is exactly what the president's team should be doing, engaging with one another to implement the president's goals. And so everybody is on board with President Trump's mission and DOGE's mission to identify this waste and fraud, to be good stewards of the American taxpayers' money. And both Elon and Marco are doing an incredible job in their respective roles. And that's true of everybody in President Trump's cabinet. He has really put together an extraordinary team. And I think it's pitiful that the mainstream media is working overtime to try to divide President Trump from Elon and from other members of his cabinet.
Since you last spoke about it yesterday, some details have come out about your cabinet meeting with Elon Musk and some clashes potentially between Secretary Rubio and Secretary Duffy.
No clash. I was there. You're just a troublemaker. And you're not supposed to be asking that question because we're talking about the World Cup. Elon gets along great with Marco, and they're both doing a fantastic job. There is no clash.
Mr. President, bottom line,
Who are you with? Who are you with?
NBC.
Oh, no wonder. That's enough. NBC.
Who has more authority, Elon Musk or your cabinet secretaries?
Any other questions?
Truly been the best and worst of weeks for President Donald Trump. Now, coming off the White House meeting with Vladimir Zelensky, that was all going great until the last minute when the beleaguered Ukrainian president got into a shouting match with Donald Trump and J.D. Vance. Well, after that, the commander-in-chief needed a win. And a win he got. This week, Trump addressed a joint session of Congress. It was not technically a State of the Union, but effectively it was the same sort of thing, and he got what he was looking for. Not just because he dropped a long, 100-minute-long speech without a hitch, but because the Democrats, still reeling from their loss in November and completely unable to deal with Trump's victory in November, were able to deal with it. But despite all that, there is still a bit of trouble on the horizon. But first, in case you missed it, here's some highlights of the speech. Now, The theme was, naturally, American renewal and a great American comeback.
Our spirit is back, our pride is back, our confidence is back, and the American dream is surging bigger and better than ever before. The American dream is unstoppable, and our country is on the verge of a comeback, the likes of which the world has never witnessed and perhaps will never witness again.
Trump also called for tax cuts for every American, paid for by tariffs.
And the next phase of our plan to deliver the greatest economy in history is for this Congress to pass tax cuts for everybody. They're in there, they're waiting for you to vote. And I'm sure that the people on my right, I don't mean the Republican right, but my right here, I'm sure you're going to vote for those tax cuts, because otherwise I don't believe the people will ever vote you into office. So I'm doing you a big favor by telling you that.
And not only did he troll all the Democrats in that room there, he reeled off long lists. And here's just a sample of ridiculous stuff the American taxpayer had been forced to pay for in the pre-DOGE era.
$40 million to improve the social and economic inclusion of sedentary migrants. Nobody knows what that is. $8 million to promote LGBTQI+ in the African nation of Lesotho, which nobody has ever heard of. $60 million for indigenous peoples and Afro-Colombian empowerment in Central America. $60 million.
Well, not surprisingly, the Democrats, who went to the last election calling themselves the Party of Joy, turned out to be churlish through the entire speech. They couldn't even clap when Trump announced the capture of one of the terrorists involved in the Abbey-Gate bombing in Afghanistan. Watch them on the right of your screen when the camera pans to the audience.
Tonight, I am pleased to announce that we have just apprehended the top terrorist responsible for that atrocity, and he is right now on his way here to face the swift sword of American justice.
Oh, Trump, what a monster, catching terrorists! How dare he? Oh, well, anyway, that's the Democrats for you. Trump also, and I want you to watch this, he talked about things like keeping biological men out of women's sport. And not only did Republicans, but most of the audience went nuts when he did so. Watch this worm here from one of the major TV networks that shows the reactions of Republican, Independent, and Democrat voters as he talked about the subject.
And I signed an order making it the official policy of the United States government that there are only two genders, male and female.
And that, folks, is why Trump won.